The president, if you listened last week, was sort of chiding, I would say more attacking, Democrats like me who complain about the secrecy of this agreement. He said, oh, it's not secret. Well, actually here, I'm going to show you everything in this agreement that is available to the public right here and now. Yeah. That's it. Nothing. Nothing is available to the public about what's embedded in this agreement. Now, it's not totally secret. He's right. I can go into a room in the basement of the visitor center, having checked my digital devices. I can bring, if I have a staffer with a top secret clearance, they can come with me. Otherwise, I just go by myself. And I can read it. And once I read it, I can't talk about it. So it's not totally secret. He's right. I actually have read it, and I'm appalled at much of what I read, which I can't tell you about. So I will have to talk about what's not in the agreement. One thing that's not in the agreement is any restrictions on currency manipulation. That's at the insistence of the Japanese, who have manipulated their currency so frequently and degraded it so much that today it's about an $8,000 advantage per automobile manufactured in Japan because of artificial manipulation of their currency. China obviously does the same thing. Why isn't it in the agreement? Well, Japan doesn't want it in, and Wall Street doesn't want it in because they kind of like currency manipulation. It makes for more exciting gambling on the international markets, and they think maybe they can do a little currency manipulation of their own. Now, but don't worry, the administration really has our backs on this issue. They're going to let the Japanese continue to have an $8,000 advantage per car with currency manipulation. They're going to let them continue to require our cars to wait 3 months to be inspected before they go to a showroom while theirs get here and roll off the boat. This agreement will do nothing with that. But as part of the agreement, we're fighting hard for America, the greatest industrial power on earth. The deal that the Obama administration is seeking is they will take some subsidized rice from farmers in California, and in exchange, we will give them the rest of auto manufacturing from this country. Now, that's a great deal. If you're a third world country, maybe, and you don't make things, and all you want to do is export rice. There's another provision that has been leaked, so I can talk about it. It's called Investor-State Dispute Resolution Process. Yeah, you got it. This is incredible. There will be set up secret tribunals of which corporations can go to complain about our laws that they claim are depriving them of actual profits or anticipated profits. For instance, a U.S. company recently under NAFTA, under an investor state called Bilcon, is asking for $300 million from the province of Nova Scotia and the people of Canada because they wouldn't allow a massive open pit mine in an environmentally critical area in Nova Scotia. Yeah, you got that right. And of course, in Australia, Philip Morris is suing against the government of Australia for having restrictions on the sale of their cigarette products that they think are costing them profits, that they probably are. So that's the kind of thing that investor state does. The judges are actually trade lawyers. On one day they work for a corporation to represent their interests. The next day they are a judge. There are no conflict of interest rules. They aren't bound by any precedents. But what the president or others would say is, well, this is to protect, don't worry about it. They can't overturn our laws. No, that's technically correct. I've had this argument since NAFTA. They cannot overturn a law passed by Congress of the United States. They can just make us pay to keep it. So if we want to protect the environment, we want to protect labor, we want to protect consumers, we can keep those laws, but we might have to pay billions of dollars a year to corporations who claim they've been damaged in order to keep those lawfully passed laws in place.
Hell no!
And this goes to, let's all do that one. Hell no! Thank you. This is targeted against labor. Remember, Vietnam is in this. There are the meaningless, non-binding labor provisions, very similar to the Columbia Agreement, which didn't do anything, and they're still assassinating people who try and organize unions in Colombia. Well, that I hear is the same provision that will be in the TPP. If I knew that, I couldn't tell you about it, so I just hear that, which means it will not provide real labor protections. I did see the environmental section, so I can't really talk about it, but we're going to have someone else talk about something along those lines. And consumer protection, of course, is always on the line. And to make it even more special and bring it home a little bit to Oregon, you know, we had a massive fight over whether or not to label GMOs here in the state. Most expensive initiative campaign in the history of Oregon. And in the end, we lost by 800 votes, just merely asking them to put something on the label. They say, well, it'll be too expensive, we can't possibly do it. I have a Hershey Bars wrapper, I don't have it with me here today, from Europe. And on that Hershey bar wrapper, there's a beautiful American flag. I love that. It says Made in America, and over on the other side it says contain genetically modified organisms. Somehow they can do it in 64 countries around the world, but they can't do it here. But this, actually, the fast track agreement is going to fix that. Isn't that great? It's going to fix it. It's going to say that it is a negotiating objective of the United States in this agreement to eliminate unfair trade barriers like requiring GMOs to be labeled in 64 countries, including 4 of the signatories of this. And the president wants to tell us this isn't about corporations, it's about people, it's about jobs, it's about the environment, it's about consumers. It is not about that. It is about one thing, the bottom line of massive multinational corporations who see a new way to lead a race to the bottom. I mean, hey, you can get labor, good labor in Vietnam for 60 cents an hour. Why should you be paying someone here a living wage in the United States? And we should have to compete with that? No way! No! So, one other thing, this is the last trade agreement. And it's all about Trade Promotion Authority. Trade Promotion Authority passes, and Congress can't amend this. It will happen. I've been there through enough of these trade deals to know that. So we've got to stop the fast track. That is the critical element. And it's the last trade agreement because it's deemed to be a living trade agreement. And anybody else who wants to pretend that to follow this agreement can sign up. They've already basically said, well, China can sign up. Great. That would be just great to give China even more access to our market under yet another failed trade agreement that fails to protect American jobs and American values and export American values around the world to help lift up labor elsewhere, to help protect consumers elsewhere, and make it a better world for all of us.